Hey, this is Notser, and this is a real treat again. I don't know why they released this content. Maybe it was like a month earlier. I don't know. Recently, World of Warships Asia teased a brand new premium cruiser at Tier 6, and this is, it's not a German, it's not an American, it's not a Japanese, it's not a Soviet, it's not a Brit. It's an Italian cruiser that they teased. And Italy, for anyone who's not familiar, is not in the game yet. So this is a pretty big tease. They showed off a couple pictures, there's some stats. I'm going to get into the history of the ship for basically just explaining why this particular ship is going to be the first premium Italian. It'll make sense once you get the full picture. But let's talk about the name so you can do your own research if you would like. The ship's name is actually Emanuele Filiberto Duca D'Aosta, and they're just going to call it the Duca D'Aosta. I have no idea for the Italians how you actually pronounce that, and if it's a male or female. What are ships in Italian culture and Italian language? I'm very curious. I'm very curious. Please just let me know, anyone who actually knows. But the ship, as you're going to see the screenshots go across the screen. Then it's going to transition to actual stats that they released. I could do some sort of theory crafting about what the ship will actually be in a gameplay element. But let's get into why this particular ship. Isn't Roma supposed to be the first Italian ship? Why not Roma, Notser? I think the reason Roma is not going to be the first Italian ship or the first premium ship is because it did not serve in any other navy than the Italian Navy. And there is a huge difference between Roma, the battleship, and Duca D'Aosta, the cruiser. The cruiser, this particular cruiser, served in the Soviet Union. This was a war reward or reparation for the Soviet Union, so they used it in the Soviet fleet. And I'm sure they have plenty of blueprints, information on the ship in their archives, and that's kind of how Wargaming likes to do things. They don't like to just fly at the seat of their pants and try and model it based on some black and white that's sort of fuzzy and really far away. They want to find the real thing and figure it out for themselves. So that's why this is the first Italian premium. And of course, Roma will come. We all know Rome's going to come. But this is the first. And it's because they already had access to the information. So that's pretty cool. Now, it's a tier 6 cruiser in the game. It's going to be 171 meters, which is actually describing a ship that is shorter than what the Wikipedia is talking about. The speed is 1-to-1 with the Wikipedia. There isn't a ship right now at tier 6 that is as fast as this ship will be. That would probably tell me it's not going to have a lot of armor, but that's not a bad thing. It could cause a lot of overpin, and overpin doesn't really do a lot of damage, right? It's 152mm guns, which is comparable to pretty much everything except for the Alba and the Molotov. I assume it's going to have a high rate of fire. It seems like it could potentially be somewhere, the Cleveland has great AA protection, but it has no torpedoes. This will have 2 torpedo launchers, and it looks like the torpedo launchers are, set of 3? That's pretty reasonable. It's got okay secondaries, it looks like. It's got a lot of deck space reserved for ships, little boats, sorry, not ships. And it's got an airplane, which is standard for pretty much all tier 6 ships that I have seen. Some of them sub it out, obviously, but you get the idea. It's going to operate somewhere close to all the other tier 6s, and I'm excited to see its gun arc, the system that they decide to use for the torpedoes. Is it going to be long or short? Is it going to sacrifice a lot of armor in order to accomplish this? These are questions that need to be answered. As far as it is described in the Wikipedia, its armor was 35mm for the deck armor, 70mm for the main belt armor, 90mm for the turret, and 100mm for the conning tower. So let's just go to main belt armor. If we compare it to others in that category, we're going to say that it's pretty low armored. It's pretty low armored. Everything is at least 75 that is being described. I don't know if they're going to push it further in-game, you know. It's up in the air from that standpoint. But maybe the Nuremberg is comparable to the type of armor that they're going to be giving you in the Italian. And obviously all this can change. But it is interesting. It is interesting how this ship might work out. I love the paint scheme. I think the paint scheme looks fantastic. I absolutely adore the idea that you would have a bow and a stern that were different colors. Anyone who is familiar with a particular ship, there was a ceremonial painting, and I think it was still on the ship. They covered over it with, I think, whitewash or something. But the Bismarck, it's at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, and it has a very prominent ceremonial swastika on the bow. It stands out, okay? I like something that stands out. Like the bow is a different color than other parts of the ship. It just is intriguing to me. It's cool, right? And you've got sort of these, what are they, arrows or something as the side? It kind of breaks it up. Maybe looks like teeth almost. And we'll see how well it works out, right? It's nowhere close to being out. I just wanted to talk about it, give you some sort of a reasoning why. The Roma is probably going to come. Don't worry about the Roma. The only reason this is coming before it is because the Soviet Union had it. Why not put it in the game? We've got the blueprints right here. We don't need to go asking the Italian government for their records in order to take this and put it in the game, right? We've already got it. So that's probably the main reason why it's going to be in the game first. Does that mean that the first line in the Italians is going to be the battleship line? I don't know. It seems like cruisers first makes the most sense. Then you can feed off of it. The French are going to be cruisers first. The Brits were cruisers first. It works out very well. It feels right to do it that way. And I expect that to happen. But when to happen, gonna be a while. But I hope this was enjoyable for you. I think the ship looks great. I can't wait to actually get it, 10 months from now or whatever. I don't know. Either way, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.